Jason, we're here. The numbers are diminishing, and we just said, and then there were 8.
Then there were 8. Favorite week in football. Favorite week in the NFL calendar. You usually get the best teams. You get great matchups. Everything's on the line. There's a story with each team and each scenario and situation. So can't wait to lock in and check it out, man. There's a lot of pressure for a lot of people.
You said it there, like there are 8 left. It's usually the best teams. Do you think we've got the 8 best teams?
It says we do. You know, I understand the records and things like that, but when it comes to it, this is a tournament. Yeah. Get in the tournament, and the best team survives. So, yes, in this situation, we do.
I think obviously all eyes are back on the Chiefs. They've had a long break, got the bye week, which they've earned. Andy Reid, for me, doesn't always get maybe the attention he deserves. I was doing some research, and he's never won Coach of the Year. That to me is a bit mental. Where do you stand on Andy Reid, the coach, first of all?
Amazing. If he gets his three-peat, everybody's going to start talking about him as the greatest ever. Mm-hmm. He's chasing Bill Belichick, obviously. I think Coach of the Year usually goes to somebody who overcomes expectations. Mm-hmm. And at this point, they are expected to be one of the best, to be in the Super Bowl. It's kind of a letdown when they're not the best offense in the league. But what this man has been able to do with his team is unique. They're in a position right now to set a record, right? Nobody's done it 3 in a row, and this is phenomenal. And he gets better in the playoffs. Yeah. They get better when they have more time to prepare. When he has a bye week, he's elite. There's a reason for that. So one of the greatest offensive minds ever, and now one of the greatest head coaches.
He's very different to Bill Belichick, though, isn't he? I suppose the obvious debate will come, as you kind of alluded to there, if he can pull off this three-peat and how it compares to sort of what Bill did. But they do have very different styles of coaching.
I think all coaches do because it's unique to their personality. If you are not yourself, we as players will not identify and follow you. So you have to be that, and, people are different. Mm-hmm. I do like the way he allows players to be themselves. Yeah. It seems like that's what you hear. So, yes, he's tough. He demands respect. People rally behind him. And his formula works. It's been amazing how he's adapted to the younger generation. That says a lot for who he is.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, because I suppose maybe some of the criticism of Bill was always it's Bill's way or kind of no way. But Andy's given people chances. He's allowed people to be themselves. And I suppose that, from a player's point of view, is all you can really ask for sometimes.
Yeah, it works. And we understand that you are giving us that ability to be ourselves, so we have to represent you in kind. We got to have your back. When you say enough is enough and now I need you to do this, well, it's time to do that and turn it on, because you have allowed us to have the space that we might need and to be ourselves off the field especially. So, you got to rally behind a guy like that.
While we're talking coaches, the coaching cycle is in full effect. It's generating all sorts of stories. Is there any potential bigger storyline than the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders? That feels massive to me.
I gotta love Jerry Jones. Love him. Played for him. Remember conversations we had like it was yesterday, just because of his charisma. It's amazing a guy that's not in the playoffs has stolen the news cycle again, right? This is the magic of Jerry Jones. We are talking about the Elite Eight right now. But all of a sudden, it's the Dallas Cowboys and what they're going to do. It's genius by him. And throwing in Deion Sanders Prime Time into that conversation, it explodes as far as the media is concerned. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. But I love that they are really having this conversation right now.
You may not know this, but do you think Deion's ready for the NFL yet? He seems to be making a real impression on younger men in college. It obviously is a very different sport at the NFL level.
I think if you doubt Deion Sanders, you haven't looked at his track record and who he is and what he is and how he goes about his business, period. Deion Sanders believes in himself. He's confident in himself. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to relate. And one thing about Deion is he knows he is the engine. Deion's the story. And that helps. It works, especially when you're trying to command a room. So do I doubt Deion Sanders? Never. My favorite player ever. Mm-hmm. Been to his house when I was young, when I first got to Dallas.
Yeah, nice.
Went through his house and was starstruck. I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm in Deion Sanders' house. But I would never doubt anything he does.
Any going to take us any further on those Jerry Jones conversations? How did they pan out? What's one of your favorites?
Oh man, my favorite is when he lied to my mom.
Right.
He lied to my mama.
Okay.
Because he came to my mom and he said it was at the Christmas party? I think it was. And he goes, Miss Bell, I love your son. He's going to be a Dallas Cowboy for a long time. Then he traded me the next year.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
that was, but it was convincing.
Right.
I just, Jerry used to come to practice. He was so approachable. What other owner, you call him by his first name? Yeah. You could go up to him and have a conversation. I remember when I didn't play there, I saw him one time in Vegas and he was like, man, you were a mistake. I shouldn't have made that mistake. Just that kind of stuff, Like, it's Jerry Jones. He's so great for the league. We had other private conversations that I remember. When he got rid of me, he looked at me. I was smiling. And he said, that smile, I'll never forget that smile. It was like, this is going to pain me. This is going to be a mistake I make. Yeah. And it was the smile because he could see on my face like, I should have been there. Yeah. I was a Cowboy in his mind, but had to go. And, just really respect him for that.
Slightly on the other side of the kind of coaching carousel coin, the Jets seem to be interviewing anyone and everyone. Yeah. We were speaking downstairs, and there's a lot of good stuff about the transparency in the league. Who's interviewing for what, maybe why they're interviewing, and there is a kind of separate narrative on that front. The Jets are getting a lot of stick because their search is so wide. At the last count, it was 31 GM and head coach interviews. That doesn't feel like a good thing to me.
Cast a wide net.
Very wide.
If you're a Jet fan, right, you want to see how thorough your organization is. They've been called out for some of their decisions, right? Especially this year. Who's making the decisions? What are they doing? Who's got the input? So if you go out there and say, look at what we've done. Mm-hmm. We've covered everything. It's like looking for an investment. You look for a lot of them, you pick the good one, right? You don't just look at 5 and then make a decision. You try to cover hundreds and thousands or whatever. So it's that same kind of situation. Obviously, there's a Rooney rule in the NFL where you have to interview a minority coach or GM, right, a candidate. So with that transparency comes that, like, look who we have interviewed. So that's part of the process of what's happening. But ultimately, it's giving your fan base some knowledge that you believe that they're doing the right things. And that's what they're really trying to do. They're talking to their fans. Look, we're taking this serious. We're considering all these candidates. So when we choose this person, you understand it didn't come out of anywhere.
On to the games, which is really what we want to talk about, right? Let's go through them. We start at Arrowhead, Chiefs back in action, and they play the Texans. Do you give the Texans any chance? Their defense was on fire last week. They're going to need that again, I think.
Yeah, let's start with that. We got to give them a chance because this is the NFL. But for it to happen, it will be that defense causing havoc, right? You really have to just get after Patrick Mahomes. There's been an issue on the offensive line, especially how they move around at the tackle position. You got 2 great defensive ends and Hunter, one of them just coming off the edge, dominating, right? So you want to make sure you get after Patrick Mahomes. That is the key. And then they can play man-to-man coverage on the back end. So you're going to have to be risky if you're the Texans. Like, you're going to have to say, man, we're going to have to put it all on the line. We might get gashed for a big play, but we're trying to create negative plays on defense because you have to at least steal a couple of possessions, a turnover, whether it's a sack, fumble, or an interception, something like that. And on defense, right, get C.J. Stroud out of the pocket, Nico Collins, but there's got to be somebody else who steps up, whether it's in the running game with Joe Mixon or one of the other receivers or tight ends. Somebody's got to come through, but it's going to be about that defense causing havoc.
What about the Chiefs? We probably just take for granted. You spoke about expectations. We take for granted that they'll turn up, but what do they maybe need to do or clean up? Because we haven't seen them for a while now.
They just need to keep being who they are. I mean, they win the close games. They're great on third down, which tells me in pressure moments, they win. On defense, they can get after you. Spagnuolo, their coordinator, gets better in the playoffs because they're the kind of team, him and Andy Reid, the more information they have, the better they are at attacking you and your weaknesses. So because all season, all they showed us is that in tightly contested games or situations they win, they just need to repeat that. And they have more experience than anybody.
Lions Commanders on Saturday night, that feels to me like, as much as we're all looking forward to Bills Ravens, Lions Commanders, 2 teams that have kind of been through it, now look to be having an awful lot of fun, which I think makes for a fun game.
The Lions have been waiting for this moment for 4 years, right? Here they are. Let's go. This team, we've overcome a lot. This offense, dynamic. The defense, finding a way, right? They've even evolved and gotten better. They will pressure you, play man-to-man coverage. Aaron Glenn is throwing the bag at it. And you're against a team who shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, like, where's the pressure?
Yeah.
With a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, this equals danger. This is scary because they're going to let it loose. Remember, if you go into a game, it's like, and you're a play caller and you're like, let it fly. Let it fly. Because you know ownership and everybody else is just going to be like, hey, we got there. The expectation is low. It's limited. It's like a boxer coming in that's not supposed to win. Just throw punches, unorthodox style. That gets scary. And that's what I'm looking forward to in this matchup. Because, yes, Detroit is supposed to win. But is the pressure get to them in certain situations? Washington can capitalize on that.
First game up on Sunday is the Rams and the Eagles. We spoke last week when you said sometimes a team can be playing for maybe more than something. It certainly looked like that as far as the Rams are concerned. The Eagles just appear to be their own story with everything that goes on there. Where do you think that game might be won and lost?
Yeah, you're right. The Rams need to lean into it's bigger than us. Yeah. Have to. Has to be the motivation. Does a lot for you. A lot of wars have been won because of that, where people were outnumbered and everything said they could not win. And they have Matthew Stafford, who can make every throw, right? Puka Nacua, this offense, Sean McVay. Let me tell you, he's going to be ready. I can't wait to see this game plan against this Philadelphia defense, right? Vic Fangio, what they've been able to do. I mean, this defense can dominate. But are we going to doubt Sean McVay's ability to game plan? It could be questionable on if this Eagles defense can stop them. It's going to be great. On the other side, my goodness, the Eagles just need to run the ball.
Yeah.
Dominant offensive line, Saquon Barkley, run at this Rams defensive line. That is the key. They want to come upfield and attack. They want to do that, but you're going to have to run at these guys and really break their will. And that's what I want to see. If you can see that, this is what makes Philadelphia so dangerous. They can win in different ways, and they have a talented roster. They need to show that.
Have we saved the best till last?
Why not? I think we have. I mean, this is what everybody's waiting for.
Ravens Bills, like it looks to me, there's going to be snow as well, which we love.
It's going to be cold and snow. Two teams that play outside. 1 and 2 in the MVP race. These guys have won moments all year. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Moments in the game, win. Highlights, win. That's all we've seen.
Yeah.
But it's pressure on both of them because they've never been to the dance. They've never won. They've never won. So now they both have the pressure individually, and they both win the moments. So what's going to happen? That's all we're looking for. Who continues to win the moments out of those two wins the game. Now, Derrick Henry might take over.
Yeah.
He could. James Cook, you're going to have to lean on him too. Somebody else is going to have to make a play. And they might be the one who drives, who keeps the engine going. But it's the moments that win games. And these two quarterbacks, when they're looking at each other on the sideline thinking, who's next? Who cracks first? Who makes the mistake? Pressure is real in this game. It is the best game of the season. Might be the best game of these playoffs. Who wins the moments?
There you go. That's it. I can't sell it any better than that.